Welcome to Soul Matrix Show, unleashing the power of your infinite soul with Sheri Collins. Sheri can help you remember who you once were. Tune in to see the bigger picture, release your past traumas, and step forward into your true self and living a life that you love. This show will help you with all of this by being of service to you, sharing messages of hope, faith, and understanding. We all have inner wisdom within us, and Sheri can help you find it. You can be the creative change that you want in your life, and Sheri wants to show you how to do that. Let's navigate on your soul's journey. Soul Matrix Show starts now.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Sheri Collins, and you're on Soul Matrix Show on Transformation Talk Radio. I am so grateful to have you guys here. Happy Monday. I just want to open this up as part of a discussion before we jump on live calls. So a lot of profound things have started to happen within the collective. Some of the things are, the vibration is raising super, super quick. We're all shifting at an enormous rate. We're learning what collapsing timelines are. We're understanding that when we shift through those dark nights of the soul and all these different aspects that there's things that are going to pop up now and again. And my aha moment came a little bit today while I was in class with my coach. And part of what we talked about was understanding the archetypes. And our archetypes will determine certain aspects of ourself that we still need to, bring up those roles and cycle them in and out. And as we were in class today, we were talking about the caregiver role. And I know a lot of people will understand that role just as the word alone. When we understand the caregiver, we're taking care of somebody. And it's very interesting how we put this perspective out to all of us students today. And he brought forward a little bit of alignment for me where he said that, we'll dismiss our own needs for somebody else's. So I want you to reflect on yourself for 1 second. Where have you dismissed yourself for somebody else's need? Maybe you're on a day off. You only work Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're supposed to be your day. And then all of a sudden you get a text or a call saying, hey, can you help me? And you drop everything to go and help that person. I'm sure most of you who've been in that role would give up whatever it is of yourself for somebody else, depending on who it is. And for most people, your family is the most important thing. So what would you do in, let's just say this past weekend? What did you do for somebody else when it was supposed to be your time? What did you undoubtedly just let go of to go help somebody else in your family or a really good friend, somebody who needed that help more than you taking a moment for yourself? And now let's expand that just a little bit. Where in your space of this weekend did your self-care get put on the back burner? And I want you to ask yourself why. Why was that? Why did you let go of all of the things that you wanted for yourself so that somebody else could gain that attention? Why isn't looking after ourselves enough for one moment? I'm sure most of you understand your day-to-day life. We've got to go to work, pay the bills, do the grocery shopping, drive the kids here, there, and everywhere. Maybe you have hobbies and activities that you like to partake in. How many times does that stuff that you want get put on the back burner for somebody else? And why is that? Why is it that we give it all away? That caregiver role, or the magician role, or the source role, the actor role, the sage role. Why do they become a part of our journey? They become a part of our journey because it shows us where we still have work to do and where we need to heal. Those aspects that we allow to take over our life, instead of giving to ourselves fully and completely, it still takes away from us. But then we sit in frustration, or we sit in sadness that, oh, I should have done this and I didn't. Or, oh, I wish I could have done that, but I didn't. This is where it shows us that there's still work to be done. We're never completely done. I feel like we're always having to work on something. But when that came up in class for me today, it was the biggest profound moment ever, because I don't necessarily set boundaries. But then when I get frustrated, right, it's like, oh, I should change this. And oh, I could have done that better. Or oh, I could have said this differently. So for me, it's about, where do I need to take a step back and observe these archetypes that I step into unconsciously or unknowingly, and start to change that aspect that says, hold on a second, when I'm done work at this to this hour or this to this company, here's how I want my time to be. So this made a lot of sense to me because as this weekend had just passed, I did the things that I needed to get done, and I was going to go join this beautiful group that I like to join on Sundays. And then I ended up not going. And I thought, you know what? I need to be able to say no, that it's my time. But if I rewound to Saturday night, I literally sat in my garage till about 9:30 at night, creating some beautiful artwork that inspired me. But little did I know that it was 9:30. I thought it was only 6:30. So my whole evening was like gone, working from one company to the next company. There was no transition. There was no break. There was no, hold on a second, I can go and sit down and I can read a book if I really choose to. So what I want to bring forward for you guys is, where can you start taking a step back and just observing those patterns that show up in your day-to-day life? Because these patterns are the same things from your Akashic and things that we need to heal in the quantum healing space. They all make sense when we start to dissect them and we start to bring them up and move them out. Because once we acknowledge the patterns that we're living through, and as long as you're in the acknowledgement of wanting to change, they will start to change, right? You will consciously stop that pattern and go, hold on a second, I did that before. I don't want to do that again, right? The universe keeps testing us. And when you're tested and the same frustration shows up and those same patterns shows up, that's because it's not done yet. The universe is still testing you in your resistance. You're in a reoccurring pattern that you haven't fully stopped. So when we stop those patterns, you can start to look at the archetypes if you really want to. And you can start to take that and go, okay, where do I want to make this change? Where do I want to step into? For me, it's about being a leader. It's about understanding where I can be of service. For me, that's the most important thing is, while I'm on this journey, yes, there's still lots of work for myself to do, but where can I serve? That's my biggest thing. I want to serve so badly, but even that becomes an archetype as well, where what's the pattern? What am I sitting in? What am I holding? So every single thing, if you start to look at it, you'll start to understand why certain roles play over and over again in your life. And we have to stop those roles. We have to stop those roles. We have to stop the archetype. We have to stop the pattern. Because the moment you do, then you start to elevate yourself. So when we were in class, he's like, okay, well, what archetype do you want to be? And I wrote down a few. Definitely, I want to be the magician because I love that aspect. But then being able to step into it, I'm like, but why do I need to choose an archetype? Why do I have to be just one? Why can't I be a little tiny bit of everything and allow myself to grow and expand in all avenues of it? So I feel like from this moment forward, yes, I'm going to start to understand where these patterns are kicking in, that it's creating the resistance, but I'm also going to start to build myself in each direction. And I think that becomes our alchemy. The alchemy of who you are, the alchemy of what you want to be, is about standing in your truth of who you want to be and the truth of who you are. That's not going to change depending on an archetype. You're just going to fall into that placement of, okay, I have this to work on. I have this to work on. I feel like we always have something to do. I think it's how we navigate the flow of what we want. So I leave that with you guys before we launch into some questions and stuff, is what change do you want to make? Where are you frustrated in your own life that you're saying, now I don't want this pattern anymore? I think become aware of it. Take a step back and observe it and ask yourself how you can change it. I think that's the easiest way to understand that next step forward, that next elevation, if you want to look at it that way, right? It's understanding who you truly are. And there's nothing wrong with a pattern that you choose to have. There's nothing wrong with a pattern that you're unaware of. We're not at fault for anything. We've just made choices that were unknowing to us. As for myself, because this was a huge aha moment, I just needed someone to put it in a different perspective for me, right? We don't all learn the same. Some people need it written. Some people need it spoken, right? Some people need to see it. So once you start to see these things, start to look at them and say, how can I change this so that it is for my highest and best good and I can let go of this pattern? Because once we let go of the pattern, you can start to feel that weight lifted off of you. The moment I stepped into this today, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to clear that out. And it was almost like the light bulb went off. Everything became crystal clear in front of me. And it was like, okay, now this, and now this, and now this. And I can tell you the call was at 2:00 today. Already I have more time in the rest of my day leading up into this show right now. I almost didn't know what to do with myself, because I wasn't trying to like message everybody back and trying to do all of this and trying to finish all of this stuff. It literally just was ease and flow. It navigated its own self. So it ended up being just a very interesting experience and an experiment, because I wanted to kind of test it out and see what it does. Now, the one thing I will say is that I shift energy extremely quickly. I need to see it, understand it, and then I can move and shift that energy quickly. If you are not a person who does that, it's okay. It really is okay. The first step is just acknowledging that you're stuck in that loop or that reoccurring pattern, and then starting to understand what you want to have changed. And those components will start to show themselves, right? You can go read up on archetypes if you really truly want to know what that is, right? It will walk you through like just a little explanation of which each one is. And then you can dive into that one step at a time. Don't try to overwhelm yourself with it, right? Just one step at a time. You will start to understand where observing is going to start to stop that pattern for yourself, right? So I want you to even take that into consideration. Maybe start writing some notes around the things that you want to change and see where that leads you. But I'm going to leave you guys for right now, and you guys can come back. We're going to do some live questions. So feel free to submit them if you have a question you want answered. If you have something that you want to do healing on as well, we can dive into all of that. You just have to ask. So I will see you guys very shortly. See you soon. Hello, welcome back. I'm Sheri Collins on Soul Matrix on the Transformation Talk Radio. So we have a question that's come in, and let's kind of walk through this and we'll address it. So it says, hi Sheri, I have a pattern of doubt when things start to go really good. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm aware of it now, not sure how to shift it. So thank you so much, Cindy. So first and foremost is understanding that you have that doubt, right? So you can retrace the doubt if you want to, take it back to where you first experienced it. But also it's understanding that doubt is kind of like the ego mind as well. It's something that wants to keep you in that stuck pattern. So if you're aware of it, now start to observe it. Okay. So when you're doubting, why are you doubting? When you start to step into these patterns and it's like, you have the information plain as day and it's all in alignment, and then you doubt that it's there. That's something that you don't trust about yourself. So the doubt becomes not trusting. Why don't you trust yourself? So if I'm just going to work through this a little bit, you can message on that side if you want to. So if I work back through your, I don't trust myself, it shows me that you made a mistake as a child. So it almost seems like you got into a little bit of something with your dad, or the dad, your father or father figure kind of put you down for something that you chose. So then you started to doubt that decision. And then as you got older, there was certain things that showed up in relationships that you started to doubt. Well, maybe this is how it's supposed to be. Maybe I'm supposed to stay in this. Some people do that with relationships where there's abuse, mental, physical, or emotional. They'll doubt that they can leave. They'll doubt that they can get out. They'll doubt the process, right? They think that you're supposed to talk to people that way because that's how your parents talk to each other. So all of these behaviors usually are learned behaviors. You've seen it, you've heard it, and you're just going through those motions over and over again. So what they're showing me is kind of like take a step back and observe, but then see where it only shows up, because I feel like this is not only on one occasion that this happens. I feel like there's a pattern that shows up around the doubt prior to it showing up for you. So if you go into that structure and start to look at what's the trigger, then you can start to step into that trigger and go, well, hold on a second. I don't like this trigger. I don't like how this makes me feel. And then you'll take another step out and just let it be there. And every time it shows up, you'll just kind of move it over to the side. That's how you start to shift it. It's the awareness that it's there and the awareness that it's showing up, and then it's starting to not engage in it, right? We tend to want to react to something, right? So if there's something exterior to us, we want to react to it. And when we react to it, it actually amplifies the issue because we're taking ownership. We're reacting to defensive and doubt and all this stuff. So if you just let that play out here and not engage with it, you'll notice that it starts to shift its way out faster. And then it doesn't become awareness in your reality anymore because you're already aware of it, right? So now that awareness will start to just move it aside even faster so that you don't have to go through any of the doubt. Confirmation is a great way to remove doubt as well. So if you've done something for somebody else and they can give you confirmation, that will start to remove your doubt. Also, validate yourself. That will start to remove that doubt as well. I can validate this and I can validate this. Sometimes we listen to other people and that creates more doubt. That happened to me. Somebody had said an interesting thing about my abilities, and I bought into it 100%. I was like, oh, well, maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And then all of a sudden my girlfriend's like, well, what if that's the reverse of what it is? What if it's they're actually that and you're actually this? And I just went, oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you. Because I started to doubt myself. And then I was like, hold on a second. And it was so easy to move that doubt out that it was just kind of like, okay, I'm good. Right. So I think that's what will start to happen now that it's like, take that and start to move it out. You just have to validate it for yourself. Are you really that thing that's transpiring? Why do you need to doubt that? Is that the truth that's stepping forward? And you'll start to step into your truth. So it's not a hard process to move out of those and shift it. It's becoming aware of the pattern, right? And if you don't like that pattern, what would be something that you would choose instead? How about kindness, compassion, forgiveness? Those three will take you a long way. So if you step into that and start acknowledging, okay, well, here I can have forgiveness for that, and I can have compassion for that, and I can give love back to myself, that will start to stop those patterns too. So I love that question. I think it's very much geared towards, everything that we step into on a daily basis. Many, many people doubt, right? I think that's one of the first things we learn after, we get to kindergarten. We learn to doubt everything because, oh, can I do that? Am I allowed to do that? Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, hold on a second. Right. So we start these patterns at a very young age. This doesn't just start when you're in your teens or any of that stuff. This starts at a very young age. This is all learned behaviors, right? You never have to doubt yourself. You have to trust yourself. And the way to find trust is right here. This, and this is your absolute truth, right? And stepping into that self will provide you that truth. Start debunking other people on the other side of that too, right? So when somebody tells you something or shows you something that, you're starting to doubt yourself because of it, start to look at what they said to you or what was shown to you. Because 9 times out of 10, you've seen that pattern before. And as long as you're not buying into it like you own it, it's all good, right? We don't have to take ownership of anything that is not ours, right? People sometimes will just project because they have nothing better to do. Right. And it's very interesting. I'm actually going to shift off of this question for a second. I stumbled across a video yesterday around having curses and spells put on you. So it's very interesting because that's kind of no different than any of the stuff we're talking about, where, somebody is jealous of you or somebody wants to make you feel bad about yourself. Somebody wants to, make your life miserable. If you're believing in what they're saying, you're buying into the fact that you're cursed or hexed or whatever that is. When in all actuality, it's just their words. Your words create spells. And if you start to focus on, oh my gosh, this and oh my gosh, that, you're creating that looping cycle of that pattern, right? Because in all actuality, they probably moved on and don't care, right? You're the one who's holding on to, oh my gosh, what if they're doing this? And oh my gosh, they're doing this. And they're talking about me behind my back and they're doing this. Okay, if they have nothing better to do with their time, that's on them, not you, right? So it's starting to let go of that stuff and understand that if you truly fall in love with yourself, how can that even come in? Because all that matters is here. What you have here is what matters the most, not because someone's jealous of you or you make more money than them. Who cares? Right? Here's another question. Hi, Sheri. I have a pattern of doubt. When things start to get really good, I'm always waiting. Oh, so that's the exact same question. You just asked that's the same question as Cindy, right? So that's stepping into that same pattern. Just step out of the pattern and observe that pattern. And then don't allow yourself to get caught up in the doubt. Where can you trust yourself instead of doubt yourself? Right? You can do things 20 million times the same way, and you can change it one time. It doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it a different way. So I would just step into observing it and then stopping the pattern, saying, hold on a second, why am I doubting myself? What's creating that pattern? And then don't bring it in, just let it be. And you'll start to see that shift. I see it all the time. I work one-on-one with clients with coaching. Same thing. They'll come in doubting everything. And then by the time you're done, they're like, no, I'm good. Right? It's just being able to see it. Sometimes we are so busy in our day, we don't want to see our patterns, but we just sit in the doubt of negativity, or I can't do this, or, it's not working out. Well, everything is always working out. Everything is always working out. There is no wrong choice. There is no wrong decision. If you're choosing something that's in resistance, you're going to push past that barrier, and there may be a consequence on the other side. That's okay if there is. It's just you have to learn from that. So yeah, same thing. I think they're great questions. Yeah, I'd even challenge you to stop that pattern before you go into the doubt. Find why you're doubting it. Right? There's part of you, both you young ladies, Jocelyn and Cindy, there's part of you that wants to be in a different spot than where you are. It's like you want to be further ahead than you are. You think you're behind, but you're not. You're not. You're right where you're supposed to be. The universe is not going to give you more than you can handle. The universe is going to give you exactly what you need in this moment, whether that's a lesson, whether that's, I need to try this, I need to do this, whether you fail or succeed. We have to learn both sides of things. We don't always have to fail at things, but by golly, I don't know how many times I tried to do something as a child and I never succeeded at it until I said, you know what, screw this. I am going to succeed at it and I'm going to master it. Every single thing. And it's interesting that I just said that, because what comes to my mind about that is I can remember being at camp and we used to have to swim to earn badges. I'd be the first one in the water and I'd be the last one in the water. And they'd be sitting there going, are you done so we can go eat? Because it didn't matter how long everybody else was done. I was going to stay in there till I mastered it, till I got the most. Right? So what are you willing to step in and master for yourself? Are you really going to master the doubt, or are you going to master, hold on a second, I'm not going to doubt myself anymore. Right? So I would start for everyone who's looking at this and going, okay, I doubt too. Play a game with yourself. Play a game with all of this. Next time something that comes in, just stop, breathe, and think. Stop, breathe, and think. Okay, why did I just go into doubt? What's the thing in front of me? Why does it have more power over me to doubt myself? And I want you to ask, is this true or not? Is this your truth? Or is this the truth? And you'll start to see that shift. But I want you guys to step in. I want you guys to step in and do that realization for yourself. Because once you catch those patterns, the patterns stop. But I'm going to leave you guys with that. We're going to go to a quick break, and I will see you guys back here right after that, and we'll have a little bit more of a chat. If you want to come on and put your question on, feel free to do so. I will answer that for you. I'll see you guys shortly. Welcome back. I'm Sheri Collins on the Soul Matrix Show. So we've just been talking about doubt, and we were talking about archetypes before that as well. So if you have a question that you want me to answer, or you want some healing, we can definitely dive into it, and let's source it back to where it comes from this time. Being able to address some of these ladies' issues right off the hop is great, because it brings that awareness to them, but being able to understand where it's coming from, right? So dissecting it down to dad or mom and understanding the childhood part of it is really key as we step forward on these journeys for ourselves. And I'm no different. Like, as I sit here and go back on my own life, like my childhood up until 6 years old, it was basically go do what you want, right? There was no parental supervision. There was no one watching over me, that I thought of. The odd time I would get to go to my uncle's house or something like that and go hang out with my uncle who owned a funeral home or whatever that was. And then it was like back to real life. Okay, mom goes and hides out there and I get to go do whatever I want. So as we go through life, being able to go back to our childhood and be able to see those things and witness the things that transpired, is a big eye opener for us. I do know, even for myself, I could not remember any of my life before 2 years old. There was just part of my life that I would have to look at through pictures. And then as I started to work through, some of my things that I had, all that stuff started to open up. So I think I can go probably just about 18 months. Anything before that, it is healed, but it's like, do I really need to go back and start to dig and see it all and all that? Because if I really wanted to, Spirit would show it to me. And as we move forward, understanding where some of the stuff that we hold is not even ours, right? How many times have you watched your parents do something and you've taken on that as your own? That's still part of their story. Why are you taking their story with you to adapt into it? And how quickly of the realization of that can you let it go, right? Instead of holding on to traumas and stuff that's not even yours, can you just let it go, right? And it's understanding that your journey is yours, right? You can have something similar to somebody else, but it's still your journey, right? And as you walk your journey, it's how do you want to heal? How do you want to show up? How do you want to shift and change those aspects of your life that are no longer working? Where are you holding on to, cellular memory that's full of emotions and you wake up with chronic back pain or can't bend and tie up your shoes, right? Where you're overweight or can't walk or can't do anything. These are all just stored emotions in your body. You're just compensating, or you're storing for, judgment or, wanting a way out, right? We've all done it. We've all done it. Nobody on this planet's perfect. We've all done it. We've all had our stories. I'm sure everyone can tell you a story. Remember when, right? How many of you had that story that starts like that? Remember when? Well, if you start to recreate that stuff and heal those remember whens, you're left with a pure soul. You're left with a cell body that's going to appreciate you, right? Does it take time? It does. This is not a rushed process. It's taken me 5 years so far and I'm still not done, right? I learn my lessons as I move. I don't tend to sit in things for a long period of time. The other thing I want to say too is as we navigate this journey, with the self-doubt and stuff like this from these women, is that it's okay to talk to somebody. It's okay to bounce ideas off a friend. If you don't have a friend, I host tons of group. Come join them, right? Come bounce ideas off people. Why is this showing up? That's one thing that I can navigate very easily. Sometimes not for myself, but for other people. I get answers very quickly when it comes to certain things. So sometimes it is just about, hey, where do I need this information? If you ask the universe to give you some confirmational energy, they will show you like a YouTube video or a TikTok or something that says, here's the information you asked for, and now it's done. I don't know how many times my guides have pointed me to YouTube, and it's like exactly what I need to know was right there on the screen. Can I go back and find it again? Nope. I don't know how many times I've watched videos and all of a sudden they don't exist on YouTube anymore. This is the universe giving you that confirmation that you're seeking, right? The universe will give you anything that you ask for. It's sometimes we just have to ask. We forget that we have that voice that says, I need help, or can you do this? Can we find this? Can you show me this? Right? Right now, there's so many emotions happening on this planet, and you can go right back into that archetype when it comes to all of this as well. All the things that are going on the planet right now make us feel or help us to understand ourselves in a different way. This planet's in retrograde. This over here is going into this. This is coming out of this. Here's how it's going to change the collective. In all actuality, those things are all great. It's what triggers you. Because the moment you're triggered by something, that is something that you need to work on. If you can look at all this collective stuff and go, great, we're good. You already know you're out of that. You far surpass that energy of what's needed to wake you up. These are all things that are surfacing right now. A lot of people are starting to raise the consciousness of understanding. And with that comes the dirty work. It comes the traumas, it comes the emotions, it comes the triggers. It comes, this is not fair. It comes, I need to go and retreat. It comes, any way that you need to see it, it will. Whether you need to be the magician, the sage, the warrior, the leader, the teacher, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have to be able to take on the role and then come back and become humbled. And then take on that role and become humbled. If you're taking on that role and you're not becoming humbled, then there's greed and there's other things that transpire up here in that role that are hard to move out of. And it's happening more and more. We can't get sucked in by, I need to be this one thing. Because then when it becomes consuming, you can't get out of it, or it's hard to shift out of it. The other thing that I've noticed too is that people put a lot of people on pedestals. Why do you want to put someone on a pedestal? Nobody should be on a pedestal. Nobody is better than anybody else on this planet. They might be further along in their journey, but that doesn't mean you can't catch up tomorrow or 1 second from now. You can be in exactly the same spot as them. Who says you can't? Right? So when we put people up on pedestals up here, we look at them as better than us. Well, what did they do to deserve that? I don't really care if you wrote a book and taught a class. I don't really care if you did this and traveled the world. I really could care less. What do you have that I don't? Nothing. What gifts do you have that I don't? Nothing. I stand in my truth, you stand in yours. That's the only difference. You're you and I'm me. The other thing I want to add on to that is don't be anybody but yourself. Everybody else is already taken. Be you. And that's you stepping into your truth. That's the sage. You pick, sorry, not the sage. That's the archetype. You pick something, step into it. How does it feel? How does it feel to be the magician? Where that I can make anything happen that I want out of thin air and it's mine. Where you step into the teacher role. Okay, I want to teach this. I want to enlighten people and I want to show them how easy this is. Are you stepping into that role? Are you stepping into the saver? Are you stepping into the villain? Are you stepping into whatever that role is? No role is wrong. No role is wrong until you tell yourself, I'm done with it. And that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that you're finished with that cycle and that pattern. So if you want to step into another one, you can. If you want to try something different, go for it. Here I'm thinking, okay, I want to become the magician and I want to become the source. And then I'm sitting there going, hold on a second. Why do I have to limit myself? Because honestly, it's a limitation to have to do one and then the next and try them all on like a new pair of shoes, right? It's understanding what your soul wants. And if your soul wants to experience it all, go experience it all. But at the end of the day, what do you want to be? What's the identity you want to take on? You? Is it your soul? Is it light? You're the only one who can determine that. I can't determine it for you. But I know what it's like on my own journey to step from, basically not knowing any of this stuff to, hold on, I'm going to sit and meditate. My choice. I'm going to clear out my garbage. And then I'm going to start working on this. And I'm going to step into this. And I'm going to step into this. And as I navigate this, I'm going to still shed some more. If somebody would have told me 5 years ago that you're going to just keep shedding all the stuff in your life that didn't make sense, that wasn't good, you didn't know how to heal from, I would have told them they were crazy. But here I am living it day to day. It needs to be done. Step by step. And the way to understand your patterns is just what these ladies brought up. You're navigating your life and something happens, that's the pattern. It's going to keep showing up in your life until you address it. And the moment you address it, now it can stop. And there's your confirmation, right? The orbs that fly around, there's your confirmation. It's understanding what it is you want. Are you ready to start this journey for you to stop these patterns and the cycles? Remember that I said that, the aches and pains we feel in our body are just stored emotions. Are you talking to that emotion and saying, okay, why are you there? Why does this hurt so much? Why do I overextend to everybody so much? Right? Why are things so hard for some people? Why are things challenging for some people? Why do people push on the brakes and not want to move forward? Fear of the unknown, fear of what's next, fear of failure. These are all the things that start to get us tripped up. I think reflect back on your life over this next break. Where have you stepped in and done all of that? And are you ready to stop it? Are you ready to step in and just do this for you? Stop the archetypes, stop the patterns. Stop thinking it has to be everybody before you. You come first. Navigating the inner emotions and sometimes can be the hardest thing on the planet because we want to cry, we want to be vulnerable, and that's good. Nothing wrong with that. It has to be done. So let's take a break and we'll come back. Again, if you want a question answered or if you want a little bit of understanding of what you're going through, feel free to write your question. I will be glad to help you. And we will see you guys right back after this break. I'm Sheri Collins on the Soul Matrix Show. So I do want to put this out there just so that I don't forget. So if you're interested in stepping into Quantum Level 1, that class is coming up this Saturday, the 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern till about 6 or 7 p.m. The class is filling up quite quickly. So if you want in on that, head over to my website, sheri-collins.com and get in on that. Just go into the courses, click down in the first one, say Quantum Level 1. You want to click into there. You don't want to miss this opportunity. Really, it is an amazing thing to step into and just start learning for yourself to heal your body. What I would love to do, and we'll just keep an eye on comments if you guys have any, is I'd love to just give you guys a little bit of healing, kind of to open, your heart space and kind of get rid of any like stuck or stagnant energy that's in your body that's maybe not allowing you to be able to move forward or be able to, understand where you're feeling stuck. So I just thought I would tap in, do a little bit of energy work for you guys just to help boost you up for the rest of your week ahead, get you into that awareness and that knowing for yourself. So feel free to write a question if you want to. And I'm just going to just start, tapping in and see what's there. Just you can cycle a nice gentle breath down into your gut and then back out through your nose, just nice and gentle. And we'll just bring in some healing for the head and the heart, definitely just opening up that gut as well. There's a lot of stuck energy in there around, doubt and, oh, did I do this right? And, I don't want to make a mistake and disappoint somebody, right? And if any of that resonates with you, take that with you, right? Where am I disappointing someone? Where did I hurt somebody? Or where did they hurt me in a choice that I made, right? We're just going to remove some of these energies that are stuck around these things, where they're harboring inside of you. And I do something that allows me to collapse timelines as well. So we're going to do one of those codes too. And we'll just collapse any doubt for these beautiful ladies so that they can, take this with them. And anybody else who has that as well. Excuse me. And we'll just allow that shift to happen. Allow anywhere that's showing up with teachers or moms or dads, grandparents, siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends. Just allowing that space to open up, moving the energy out. Feels lighter already. Let's just remove anything in the back that's, a little bit of stuck energy. Maybe some people's words you've told yourself. How many times have you put yourself down because you doubt something? I see a lot of energy around moms and dads, almost where you want to be perfect for them. And when you're not, you get in trouble. So I can feel that front to back in you guys, right in front to back, where you feel like you're not good enough for them. Let's just do a cleansing of emotions too. Let's just see if there's any emotions that are stuck. Just check all the organs. There you go. That feels better. Just take all the weight that you're carrying, extra weight that's not yours. And let's just step in and just do a little bit of lens work. Anywhere that you are stuck in somebody else's vision of how life is supposed to be. Lots of release with that. And let's just place a code. Just allow you guys to feel uplifted. So if you're interested in learning any of this stuff, you can go to my website. I actually have lots of different courses that are there that you can come into live on Zoom. So that's sheri-collins.com, and you want to go to the courses tab for that one. If you want to jump in and start learning right now, you want to learn quantum, or you want to learn Akashic, you want to learn divine soul transformation, you can go into my my school site, pureradiantsoulacademy.com, and you can start taking those courses right now. They're all there. Anything that I load that's new is all free after you've purchased the first one. So if I make any modifications, you get all of those. If you want to message me privately, shericollins1@hotmail.com, and you can ask me whatever needs to be addressed in order for you to step forward into your journey. I truly just love to teach. So for me, it is a huge passion to be able to come in and share what I know and what they, channel to me for you, to be able to have you guys walk through on your journey. I've worked with people around the entire world. So this is not the first time I've done this. This is multiple lifetimes, but especially in this one, it seems to matter the most, raising this consciousness and being able to walk forward as a sovereign soul, and a being that's clear of all these negative emotions. We did talk last week around shifting timelines. Those are going to start to happen more and more as we navigate forward in this year. You might find yourself shifting out of a lot of patterns really quickly. You might even figure out that we're going into February next week, and it's really weird that we're at the end of January already. So everything is accelerated right now to help us shift. The more we collapse timelines, the faster things speed up for a little bit, and then they'll slow down and speed up and slow down. But by watching how you feel with your emotions, it will determine your day. The other thing I will suggest is, just like we talked about at the very beginning, being able to have that day of rest for you and take that moment for you. Find a day where you can do that just for you, rather that sitting down, watching a movie with your family if you need to. But I will share this with you guys. Having my source day of rest on Sunday has literally changed my entire family. It is something that I treasure. It is something that I love doing. I don't go to the store on Sunday unless I absolutely have to. I usually attend one class that I do for me, because it is so high vibrational. By the time you're done, you're loopy because you're so high. That's what I do on a Sunday. I try not to work. I try to just be. So I challenge you to start that routine for yourself. What's the moment? And if you can't do a whole day, that's okay. But what's that moment that you're going to say, this is for me? What's that moment? The stores will live one day without your money. I promise. If it's the only day you can do it, I get it. But what's that one moment you can have for you? Because that moment that you take for you, you'll never get back if you keep giving it somewhere else. You can't have those moments back. It's gone. So what's that moment? Now, I studied with Bob Proctor through my coach, and the one thing that he referenced in the video that I watched was an hourglass. If you picture the sand coming through an hourglass, in the middle of that hourglass passes one piece of sand. Doesn't matter how fast. That's your now moment. So are you going to let time pass you by, or are you going to sit and enjoy the moments that you have? Just food for thought. We have to start taking back the things that we want for ourselves. And if understanding the archetype allows you to do that, let's do that. Now, next week, I want you guys to come back, because I think next week I want to work on doing some group healing for everybody. Let's up level everybody. Let's bring you guys into a higher state for yourself. So next week, if you want to join me, we'll do some light language, light codes. We'll do some collapsing of timelines. And then the week after that, we'll bring back, you guys can ask questions. But I feel like we need to just do some healing. And I think I'll get you guys to do some planetary healing with me. I'll guide you through it, how to do it. So if that interests you, feel free to tag along your friends, and, you know, let's start stepping into this, not only for us, but the planet too. I do appreciate every single one of you who shows up here, whether it's on here or on YouTube. You can go check out my other videos on YouTube as well, Sheri Collins. I truly just love and appreciate all of you guys for stepping in and doing this. I do also want to put a shout out for February 2nd and 22nd. I will be doing a global meditation to help us shift even further. So if you want to take part in that, that will be on Facebook group, Pure Radiant Soul. And it'll also be posted onto my website after, sheri-collins.com. I love you guys so, so much. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week ahead. Start stepping into the truth of you. I love you guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you for listening to Soul Matrix Show, unleashing the power of your infinite soul with Sheri Collins. Tune in live every Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on transformationtalkradio.com. Sheri can help you remember who you once were. Tune in to see the bigger picture, release your past traumas, and step forward into your true self and living a life that you love. This show helps you with all of this by being of service to you, sharing messages of hope, faith, and understanding. To learn more about Sheri and her services, visit sheri-collins.com. That's sheri-collins.com.